Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Indonesia. In this channel, I like to nerd out to the science behind how to keep our houseplants happy and how to multiply them in our homes. So if you're into that kind of content, do send me likes and subscribe to my channel. First of all, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm actually new on YouTube. I've only been here for about a month and I've reached almost 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 views. That's freaking amazing. So thank you. I hope to make more videos like this and to get you guys informed, hopefully a little bit entertained about the topic that we love. Alright, so I made this video basically for my friends. Some of you have come forward to let me know that you guys would like to try out houseplants. It's your first time. What kind of plants should I get? And I don't know how to answer that, only because the type of plants that you can get that will thrive in your home depends heavily on many factors, such as sunlight, what kind of light or natural, artificial light, what kind of light can you provide it, what is your watering habits like? Are you an overwaterer like me, or are you someone who prefers benign neglect? And also, are you the kind of person that want to research a little bit about the species, and because some of them are a bit more finicky? And my few advice for you is, number one, when you pick a plant, again, sunlight is super important. Sorry, not just sunlight, I mean any light. You could provide them with artificial light as well. That's super important. You can't just stick a plant anywhere you want. The plant will 100% die if you want to bend them to your will. Honestly, the plants are your masters. Like, they own you. So you better take care of them. You better put them in the right spot. You better do your research. It's not that hard. It's actually super easy. And second of all, a lot of the plant shops that you purchase plants from are going to tell you to water on a schedule. I'm going to say that shit. Sorry, I'm tired of hearing about it. People keep telling me like their plants are dying, and you know, I've been watering it, you know, based on what they were told. It's more complicated than that. I will go through with you watering, sunlight, soil medium in separate episodes. I'll keep them very concise and compact so you guys can look at it at ease. But today, again, I want to focus back on the species that I recommend for beginners, and I try to merchandise them so that there's a little bit of everything. There's one Philodendron, there's an Anthurium, there's a Fern, so there's one of everything. So you may watch this video and say, that one, I like that one, what is it? So you can either try one or two of these plants, or you can get all 16 of them all at once. If you have any questions about any kind of care, and if I do have time, I would definitely love to get back to you. I've been bombarded with messages lately. But I'm passionate about getting you guys into this plant hobby. It's not scary, it's actually super fun and super addictive. Not all of you are going to make it. Some of you are going to try and you're going to fail. But hopefully I can help you along with your journey so that you can succeed. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring out the plants one by one and talk a little bit about them and their care. Alright, so the first contender here is the Philodendron gloriosums. So they're from the Philodendron family, which is very, very popular right now. It's an aroid, and there are hundreds and thousands of philodendrons, and they are all different. Some of them are tiny leaves that vine down. Some of them get huge, and this is a heart-shaped leaf that kind of just like grows over to the side of the pot. Some of the philodendrons actually shingle up, so they climb up the trees. And this one is particularly easy to care for. And actually, I just want to give you a general rule of thumb. None of these plants that I selected require some kind of crazy light or care requirement. They're very basic, and they can survive in most home conditions. So philodendrons and all the plants here, actually, they like bright indirect light. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. So let me clarify that with you. What bright indirect light is. First of all, most of these plants live in the canopy, understory of the rainforest. And they're used to getting you know, light all day long, but then they are very dappled and they are very shielded from that kind of harsh, direct sunlight that you would imagine. Like, imagine if you're a cactus, right? Those guys they have like sun beating down on them all day. So these plants will burn, absolutely burn, if you give them that kind of sunlight. So what is direct sunlight? Direct sunlight is when you stick your hand, let's say, on the spot, on the ledge or a table, and in 10 minutes, your hand will get a tan. That's when you know, like, that's direct sunlight. That's like when it's too hot. So some of the fruiting, flowering, cactus and succulent type plants, they do require that to thrive, and none of them are here, fortunately. So yeah, so these guys, they like medium to bright indirect light. If you give them a low light, they will survive, they won't die on you. But then the petioles here, the neck, it'll grow super long. It's gonna try to exfoliate and reach for the light. And some of the key features of this is that it's got super beautiful veining on the leaves, both in the front and in the back. And the leaves can get huge. This is actually just a medium-sized plant. So highly recommend this. This is a sort of a philodendron that can easily build your confidence. And they get huge, so just make sure that you have the space for them. All right, so this next plant is a monster. I got him when he was so tiny. He was only probably about 5 to 6 leaves. This is also a philodendron, and it's a fast-growing, it's a Philodendron Burle Marx, sorry. And it's a very, very fast-growing philodendron. It shingles, as you can tell from here. So it climbs up. If you give it a pole, it will climb up the pole. It will clamber over each other, basically, to fight for space and to fight for light. And the higher they go up on the elevation, the bigger the leaves are going to be. And this is a very forgiving philodendron. Just like the other one before, they require medium to bright indirect light. And all philodendrons actually want to dry out between waterings. So you don't want to water them every day. Make sure that the pot dries up between waterings. And they're also very forgiving. So a little bit of overwatering and a little bit of underwatering, and they won't die on you. They won't punish you by dropping leaves or anything. So very good beginner plants. And again, they get pretty huge. So you can either keep them as a big plant, or you can start taking cuttings of them and sharing them with friends. So next up, we have the Anthurium Chrystallinum. And Anthurium is also a very popular aroid species right now on Instagram. They are known for either their heart-shaped leaves or their flowers. Sorry, not flowers. They're actually modified leaves. They're spadexes. I can show you the picture on the screen. And this is very easy to care for. Actually, they are kind of like the philodendrons, except just keep in mind that Anthuriums do like a bit of humidity, and they do like to stay a little bit more moist than philodendrons. But in general, with lighting, they're pretty much the same. And they can get huge as well. The leaves can get like monster. So the way they grow is that they would come out with this like super bright red tiny leaves that is heart shaped, and then it will expand. This one is actually expanding right now, and it will one day be bigger than the previous leaf. So that's a super cute growth pattern. And they also add a statement to your home with their veinings and just the shape, the overall shape. It's just so beautiful. All right, so next up we have a Dracaena moonshine. I know a lot of you are choking right now because I just called sansevieria Dracaena. So all sansevieria, which is the mother-in-law's tongue plant, it has been reclassified into the Dracaena family. And since I'm new to the plant game, I don't mind calling them Dracaenas, but I know, again, some of you are probably smashing your phones right now. So this is super beautiful. There's a lot of variation of sansevierias or Dracaenas. And this one is, I like it for the color. It's got a very architectural form. It's a very fast grower. It's faster growing than all my other Dracaenas. And these two new growths are actually new. I got the plant online, a very cheap plant, and it was so banged up. It looked terrible. It's got like damages everywhere. But the new leaves are perfect. They're beautiful. And the way that you care for it is that they can take low light, but again, they prefer bright, indirect light. They can survive in a more harsher condition because they are super tough plants. The only way you can kill Dracaena is by overwatering. So they don't like to be watered at all. Like they have the tuberous roots that if you keep dumping water in there, they're gonna rot. I would say that I water this one about once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's just doing so well. So this Dracaena are suitable for people who travel often, who want something in their homes, want to stick their plants anywhere they want. This guy will survive. And just ignore them. So yeah. So next up we have the Monstera Deliciosa, and of course I'm going to talk about the Monstera because this is a very popular plant, but it's also super easy to care for, very rewarding. This is my first plant actually, so this is the my first plant is upstairs. It's gotten huge by now, but this is a cutting I took from it, and it's grown so much. So I've learned all about propagation from this Monstera. And it's an aeroid, so it's got the same care as the philodendrons. You don't want to overwater them. You want to let them dry out between watering. But again, they're very forgiving. If you overwater them, they will start sweating, and excess moisture would come out from the tip of the leaves. So that's when you know you overwatered it. Same kind of sunlight requirement. You know, bright, indirect, and yeah, their leaves will get bigger and bigger as they grow up. I give them a moss pole to climb up. It's up to you if you want to or not. I believe that it will make their leaves bigger if you let them climb up, because in nature they actually climb up the trees, and the leaves can get so huge. They get insanely huge. And again, this is just so beautiful in any space. So I highly recommend it. So next up we have a Miranda leuconoria. I butcher it every time. I can't say it, but I'm going to include that on the screen. So this is a prayer plant family. There's a whole lot of species in this family, including the Calathea, Tenantes. You should worry about them later once you've figured out your basic plant game, because those are super hard. But this is the easiest one out of them to care for. And the reason why this one is particularly chosen for this video is because again, it's super easy. It's got super gorgeous foliage. It's just beautiful to see them grow. They like low to medium light, so do not give them bright indirect. They'll start curling. They will not be happy at all. And this one likes to dry out between watering. So one trick that I learned about watering is that when you have them in a plastic pot, you just kind of lift them. If they feel like airy and light, it's time to water them, because soil is like 70 to 80% water. And you will know when it's still wet, or if it's still moist, you can feel the difference. So it's super easy to care for. They pray at night. There's prayer plant, right? So they're quite a delight. To care for them, they want bright, indirect. They want super bright light. You can even give them a little bit of direct sunlight. So next up is a Hoya Crimson Princess. This is a super popular houseplant right now, and Hoyas as a species, as a family, is beautiful. It's amazing. I have a thing for them. That's because they're super wild. You can't control them. They grow however way they want to. The leaves are usually thick and succulent-like, and they have a lot of markings, a lot of different shapes, and they flower too, by the way. The flowers are super cute. You haven't lived life until you have a Hoya flower for you, I think, because it's just so spectacular. And no one knows why they flower. The conditions to make that happen is pretty random, so it's fascinating. I highly recommend. This is the easier one to take care of. They're slow growing because again, there's a lot of variegation in leaves, but they're so stunning. The marks are random, and each leaf is different from another. So they're quite a delight. To care for them, they want bright, indirect. They want super bright light. You can even give them a little bit of direct sunlight if you have it. But these, they don't want to be watered much at all. Like, the way you would figure out to water them is to squeeze the leaves, one of the old leaves actually, not the new one. If the leaf feels like firm, it feels like it's full, then don't water it. But right now actually it's a little bit limp. I can feel like I can squeeze it very easily. So this needs watering. So this is one of the most basic houseplants since the 70s. It's a peace lily. And I know you guys are thinking, oh, this is so basic. Like, I see them at airports, at hospitals. Look up closely at them. The leaves are actually beautiful. Like, there's this like sort of texture on it, and they're super easy to care for. Actually, they droop when they're thirsty, or you can feel the leaves too. Like, there's actually a vein that goes down along the back of the leaves. You can feel like if they fold easily, if they're limp, it's time to water. If not, they will leave it alone if they're still happy. And this is a plant that is super forgiving. You can overwater it and you can underwater it. It gives you visual cues to when it needs watering. So this is very good to build up your plant confidence. And this one's actually flowering right now. They don't always flower, by the way. When you buy them in stores, they're sometimes in bloom. That's because they give them some kind of chemicals, so you'll buy them. But yeah, this flower actually died before and now it's come back. And it's always growing. It's a fast grower. It's continuously putting out one leaf after another. And the new leaf is beautiful. It comes out as a sharp sheath, and then the leaves will start kind of unfurling. It's beautiful. It's quite a performance. And this is very inexpensive, and if you kill it, it's not a plant that you will feel kind of, unfortunately, you won't really feel sad for. So give it a try. This is a very easy beginner plant, and they can take low light. Sorry, I forgot to mention. I have one of these living just under like a spotlight, completely in the dark, and it thrived. It just kept growing and growing. It cannot take too bright of a sun, although I have seen them outdoors in full sun. So what do I know? Yeah, so get yourself a peace lily. They're fun to have around. So next up, I have a jungle cactus. This is actually a zigzag cactus. I know it's unusual, and a lot of you have never seen this before, but I have noticed that they're actually very, very easy to care for. They're super forgiving. You can overwater it, you can underwater it. They'll be fine. They're not gonna die on you. So I don't even check the moisture in the soil anymore. I just kind of like every 5 to 10 days, I just dump water on it, and it's surviving and it's putting out so much growth. So this is one of my first few houseplants. And the reason why I like it is because it gives you that jungle vibe. It's so different, and it adds such a statement to your space. And it's also a little bit wild. They kind of grow, like I see growth from here and here, like growth. They just grow from anywhere that they want. So you can't really control them, you can't tame them, and they want to take over your life. Next up, we have the skin dapsus. And these guys grow so fast. They are kind of in the Pothos family, and I'm sure you've heard of the Pothos plants, which a lot of YouTubers or basic houseplant videos are gonna recommend. And don't get me wrong, Pothos are great and they're good. They're beautiful. But this one takes it to the whole new level because of their markings, and they are tolerant to so many lighting conditions. You can put them in low light, you can put them in a bright indirect light, and they'll do fine. The only thing about them is that they do not take to overwatering. If you overwater it, they will sacrifice a few leaves. They'll turn yellow and it'll fall off. And in this case, actually, it's super easy. Like I used to stab the moisture meters in them to check the moisture before I water it, but now I've learned that they actually turn limp. So right now this is kind of firm. I can even like slap it around, I can feel it. But when they need watering, it will just flop down, and when you feel it, it's just a sad leaf. So it gives you visual cues as to when to water this, which is why it makes such a beautiful companion plant for a beginner. And the markings actually, I mean, if you look at them up close, and it looks different on camera, by the way. You have to see these in person. It's silvery specks, and they look kind of like camouflage as well. It's just so beautiful. I hope you guys can give this plant a try. And they grow super fast. If you let them climb up a moss pole, the leaves are going to get bigger and bigger. And if you let them trail down, the leaves are going to get smaller and smaller, like here. Regardless, they're beautiful. And this is one of the plants that are easy to propagate. Maybe I'll show you a propagation video soon. But yeah, this is super basic, but I like having them around. I have like 20 of them because I keep propagating them and I can't get enough. So you should get one too. So next up, we have a Peperomia Polybatria, also known as the raindrop peperomia. And this is an interesting plant species that nobody talks about. And all peperomias have very similar care. They don't like to be overwatered, so do check the leaves and feel their succulence. If they're firm and hard, do not water it. You only water them when they are limp. They're very nice to have around. They're super cute companions. They fit in like so many spaces on your table, on the countertop. And they don't like to be in very bright light. So I give them kind of like a low to medium light. And they're super fun to propagate, so if you're in, because you can cut them anywhere and they'll grow into a full plant. So I highly recommend it. So there is no beginner's houseplant video on the internet that did not mention the ZZ plant. Zamifolia, Zamia, zamifolia, or in short, just called the ZZ plant. They are impossible to kill. The only way you can kill them is with overwatering. They can be stuck in a closet in the dark. Of course, I don't recommend for you to do that. That's plant torture. They also have been found in bright full sun. I've seen them around in Bali. But of course, with plants, you want to, while it can survive those conditions, you want to acclimatize them. So if you have them in a sort of a darker spot and you want to move them somewhere bright, kind of move them gradually, like move them like a little bit closer and closer to the window, or have them out for a few hours or a few days at a time and move them back. This is to get them used to, because I've seen a lot of ZZ plants that are burnt up, and I know they can take those conditions, but they manage to burn up as well. So yeah, you gotta let them get used to the new environment if you want to give them more light. But this is very easy to care for. Again, do not, I would even go as far as say do not water them because that's how you kill them. And I'm kidding. I water this about once every month or so. And these are actually new growths. There's 2 new growth patterns coming up. And each time they grow, they go big or they go home, right? So they throw out the whole shoot with leaves at the same time. So they're quite fascinating to have around. But they're also very slow growers, just so you know. They will put out like a new stem every like 3 to 5 months. So it's a very slow grower, but nonetheless, they're very good companions to have. And if you have a darker spot that you need a plant, this is a trustworthy one that you can have in that spot. Yeah. So next up, we have a Phalaenopsis Orchid. I know some of you are sweating right now because orchids are not known to be easy, but trust me, they are. So my parents got these over Chinese New Year and they were just gonna toss them away. And I was like, no, wait, they're not dead yet. They will grow back. So I saved him, and then I just kind of changed out the media. It likes to have no media. In fact, I just put it in leca balls, and it gets rained on, or whenever I remember, I just water it. But most of the time, I just leave it out and let it do its thing. I do give it an orchid fertilizer. Again, whenever I remember, it could be once a month or every 2. I don't even remember how often I fertilize it. But it's given me the second bloom, and I think the new leaves are growing out beautifully and strong. So with orchids, the most important thing is that the root and the leaves need to be healthy and they need to keep growing. And when you have that, it will continue to flower for you. So be patient with your orchids. Do look it up. The orchid care is just not hard at all. And if you have a relative like a grandma or an aunt who have an orchid that they're planning to throw away, just tell them like, hey, no, let me take it home and take care of it. Because yeah, it's sad that most people throw them away when they're done blooming, but because they're still alive. So highly recommend. So next up, one of the fastest growing plant family is actually the fern. I know some of you are intimidated by ferns. There's a lot of negativity on the internet about like them dying, but actually for me they are super easy to grow. This one was actually merely just a few strands of fronds about 10 months ago, and they just keep growing. Look at these growth points. They grow kind of like that, like they unfurl their fronds. It's really beautiful to watch. They put on quite a show when they're growing. It's out of control. I don't even know what to do with him. He's grown. Let me show you the pot actually. This is just a basket, so it's like a pot like this. So I got a cover pot for it, and yeah, the way I care for it is that I water it every single day, like without miss. I don't even check the moisture. I just dump water on it. It does not want to be dried out. If you forget any kind of watering, they will dry up on you, and so you will lose some of the fronds. And another thing about ferns is that when you look at the internet, they say that ferns like low light or they can tolerate low light. That is true, but they love bright light actually. Like they will grow for you if you give them bright indirect lights. Most of the ferns can even take direct sunlight, like full sun. So I actually never had a fern in I have like maybe like 12 different species of fern, and none of them have burnt up for me. I put them in dappled, like direct sunlight. The only thing they really need is water. They need water to be watered every single day without any mist. A lot of people are saying like, oh, they need humidity. I found that to be untrue because I've had fern in my air-conditioned room where the humidity is way lower and they do just fine. So get your fern fix, water them every day, put them in a bright spot, and they make such a beautiful decoration, and they're gonna grow before your eyes. It's very satisfying to grow them because you can see right like where the new fronds are coming from. There's like at least 15 grow points right now that are unfurling, so recommend it. So next up we have the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. This is also known as the mini monstera. This is one of my earliest plants too. It was only this big when I got it. It's only got 2 leaves, and it's just grown for me, and it's just non-stop climbing up. This plant is just beautiful for its form and shape and growth pattern, but they're also easy to care for. So they have this similar care requirement as the Monstera and your Philodendrons. Basically, do not overwater them, let them dry out between watering. This is pretty vocal too. It will sweat water out of the tip of the leaves when you overwater them. And when you underwater them, they actually do droop. Like if you feel, especially if you feel underneath the leaves, there's actually the main vein. If it feels firm, it's like solid, then don't water it yet. So they will be limp when it's time to water. Very easy to care for, and they make such a beautiful statement in your space. So last but not least, we have a Begonia. And one of the reasons why I'm recommending this plant was because I regretted not having it sooner in my plant game. I got it pretty late because I was reading on the internet that it's very hard to care for and very finicky. But I find them to be very easy, and they're super fast growers. And there's the leaves. Like if you look at them on Instagram, yeah, they look nice, they look beautiful. But when you have them in person, the shine on the leaf, the textures, the ribbings on the leaf. I'm such a leaf petter, I keep touching my leaves, sorry. It's just so beautiful, and their flowers, oh my god, their flowers are just so nice. This one's actually about to bloom. I can see that it's got a flower bud coming out. In my environment in Southeast Asia, they actually need to dry out completely between watering because they're very prone to rot. It's humid enough here as it is that if you keep the soil moist or damp, they will rot. I mean, previously I've killed so many begonias because I've been getting information from other from online that begonias need to be, you need to have them consistently moist. But that's not true in my environment at all. If you let them dry between watering, they'll love it and they'll push out so many growth. And some interesting thing about begonias is that they're beautiful on the back too. Like they're usually different colored on the back, and their growth pattern is so cute. Like they have all these baby leaves that are coming from below, and the leaves will expand in size until they reach like this full maturity. So I recommend for you to try one out. There's so many variants, so many colors of them, and you can choose from. And they make a loud statement for sure in your space. Alright, so I hope you found those species interesting or the introduction useful, or maybe it just makes you more confused than before, I don't know. But if you like any of the species here, if some of them stand out to you or it's just calling out to you, expand your research, because each of these plants here, they have distant relatives, like hundreds and thousands of them, that have similar traits and characteristics, and you may just be addicted to that specific group. Or if you're just like me, I just love every plant family that landed on my laps. And thank you for watching my videos, and I really hope that I helped you build some confidence in your plant journey. And hopefully I kept you entertained and educated. And again, I would really appreciate it if you can subscribe to my channel and send me likes when you comment on videos like this, it also helps push the YouTube algorithm to let others know to find me. And I am @botanist on Instagram. Meanwhile, stay safe and take care. Bye.